It's BMI Day. At least when I am recording this, it is BMI Day, and there is a very interesting shift we need to talk about. The Black Friday sales are on, people. So many good things. If you've already gotten into some stuff with Black Friday and you've already ordered something, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, then you're going to want to watch. This whole episode is just news. I mean, there's so much going on, so many things that I have to tell you today. And so we're going to talk about it. And I want to hear from you. What's happening in your world? How did you do with your BMI Day or your PRO income, which is Performance Rights Organization? This is the money that you get from music that's played on television, on radio, or that's a performance of some kind of your music. So if you have some performance rights income, tell us about it. Tell us how you did, and we'll look at that here in a little while. Let's see, what else? I'm going to show you my favorite things on Black Friday, and also some special offers you're going to want to see. What do you need to further your music career? And I also have some opportunities for you, and that's going to happen later in the video, so you're going to want to stay. Also, I got accepted into a new library this week. Very exciting. I can't even remember why. I think I found their site and I just loved it. I'm still trying to remember the impetus for applying to this library, but they accepted me and they've already onboarded me, and we're getting ready to start doing some briefs and things like that. I've already pitched them an album. I don't even know if I'm allowed to pitch them an album, but I pitched them an album. So we'll see what happens with that. So as they say in the great Shakespearean drama, Deadpool and Wolverine, let's go. Well, welcome to the Make Music Income podcast, where we talk about all kinds of ways to make music income, including, but not limited to, sync licensing and micro-sync licensing. I'm going to talk a lot about those two today. Music streaming. Am I going to talk about music streaming today? Not really. Music publishing and royalties. Obviously, we're going to be talking about royalties today. I'm going to even show you some royalties off my BMI statement today. We talk about music production in here, and I'm going to be doing some music production, and I may even shoot some video of it on, well, a lot coming up, but on Monday I'm going to be in the studio recording vocals in possibly, well, I'm definitely going to be in the studio in Nashville in December, recording on 3 separate days. May or may not be there live. We'll see. Sheet music. Did some sheet music this week. We talk about music artist stuff. I work with lots of artists. If you're an artist, I am a person who usually is working with you as a producer. And now I'm working with a lot of artists as a person helping them get into sync, licensing, and things like that. Church music. I've taught music. But how can you talk about so many things? You say, well, and by the way, who the heck are you? I tuned into this live. I don't even know who you are. My name is Eric Copeland. I am a composer, an arranger, a producer, and I just dance around and do a lot of things, but mainly focus on making music all day long. From the minute I get up, I'm here in this chair, I'm at these keyboards, I'm working on 20 albums at a time. It's what I do. I've done all the other things. I've been a songwriter, and still a songwriter, obviously, background singer, music label consultant person, all this kind of stuff. And I still do all that kind of stuff. I make artwork. I do all the things. I can do them all at any given time, but I do make my full-time income from this. There's no other income. I can't find any other than this, what I'm doing here. A little bit maybe from this channel, but this channel, as we talked about last week, is it in jeopardy of being overtaken by the music that I'm making and the money that that music is making. So, sorry, it might be. But while I'm doing this, I hope that this podcast and all my channels, courses, ebooks, coaching, got some deals for you on that, all of that help you make the music that you love to make and make music income. Venti says, hey friend, I'm new here. Are you a full-time stock music producer? Could you tell me the 3 best platforms for 2025? Is it really possible to make a living from this job? All right. Is it possible to make a living from stock music? It depends on what a living means for you. And even with that, I doubt it. I think stock music is a great side hustle income. I know there's people on here who make a lot of money as far as from stock. I know there are people that make thousands a month from it. I know people who have made $5,000 to $6,000 to $10,000 in a month. But I average about $250 a month. I don't believe that's enough for, and that's with the main platforms being Pond 5, Motion Array, and I also have Audio Jungle, but it's been very quiet. But every once in a while it can pay a bit. I don't even know who would be next. I use SongTrader. They're not really stock. They're more just a service that gets your music used. I use Audio Sparks, which pays very little. So it depends. I know there are people in here making great amounts of money a month. Here's the thing, Venti. Very important for you to remember. The reason they make hundreds of dollars in Pond 5, or that I make 100-ish, or other people make 300 or 400 or 500 or more in Motion Array, is because they have hundreds of songs up there. Hundreds. Somewhere, I believe Cloud9 has over 1,000 songs in there. You've got to have a lot of songs up there, and they've got to be very good in what people are searching for. If people aren't searching for what you're doing, that's all of these libraries. It doesn't matter if they're stock music libraries, if they're sync libraries that are exclusive. If no one is searching for the kind of music you're doing, then it's probably not going to get found. That's how the libraries work. So is it possible to make a living from this job? Well, again, let's take the word stock out of here and just put in licensing. Are you a full-time licensing music producer? That answer for me would be yes. I am a full-time licensing music producer. Do I make my full-time income from that? In a fashion, because I produce a lot of people who are artists who are working at that, and they pay me to help them produce music. And then with my income that I get in from all the other different sources. That's why this channel is called Make Music Income, not Make Licensing Income. I can't ever say that my 100% living will be from licensing, because I do too many other things. I'll get money from the government in the next 6 to 8 years, and people will always want to pay me for something to help them, to consult with them, and I'll do it because I like doing it. So my living in music is certainly possible for anyone. I've been doing it for 24 years. It's certainly possible to make a full-time income in music, but you got to be doing a lot of things, and I don't think stock by itself will do it. Last ASCAP domestic distribution was $33,933. Fantastic. And that's still not the highest I've heard for this particular quarter. I know someone who got much more than that for this quarter alone. 1 quarter, 1 3-month check. Well, it's actually not the last 3 months. There's a whole show in how all that works. As a matter of fact, no one really knows how it works, but that's amazing that you had a 33,000. All right, so we've talked about my week. We've talked about Black Friday. Let's go ahead and jump right in to BMI Day, for me at least, and let's talk a little bit about what happened with me. My BMI statement is not very interesting to people who are getting $33,000 or people who are getting $13,000, because those people's statements are in the dozens and or hundreds of pages. My statement is 9 pages. So I am very much, you guys have been following my kind of journey here in this for a long time. My journey is still someone who is trying to get over the 300 song mark. So the reason I'm showing you this is not the fact that I am the end-all be-all. I'm never going to be the end-all be-all of everything in music. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about music production. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about being on YouTube. It doesn't matter if I talk about being in stock music or in all that. There's always people who make more money than me. There's going to always be people who make more money than you. You look at a number like $33,000 and you're like, what in the world? How in the world are they getting there? I'm making $13. Well, how many songs do you have in libraries? How many? See, and here's a good example. Travis says, I'll say your 9-page statement is pretty impressive to me. See, there's always someone more impressive and less impressive than you, you know? And that is a very normal thing. And you need to know that it's normal for you to not have a 9-page or a 20-page or a 200-page statement from BMI. Everybody has to start somewhere and is on the different journey. And so I'm on a different journey than Bradford is. I'm on a different journey than Jesse over at Sync My Music is, or Dave is at 52 Qs. Those guys, they're getting so many, they have much larger incomes and statements and much more songs out in libraries than I do. And that is the truth about how this all works. You got to have a lot of songs out there. You got to be finding new libraries, pitching them new albums. I'm now 15 to 20 new songs up because I got those 2 new albums in a library this week. You know, your BMI statement, you're always going to see a lot of like commercial radio and stuff, and then you're going to see all the internet audio, and then you're going to see, which includes Apple, you know, stuff, and then you're going to see all the streaming stuff, and these are very, very tiny things. 1 cent, you know, and these all add up. Oh boy, it all adds up to, let's see, all internet adds up to about $42. So it does all add up. Now, that is actually counting, look, internet audiovisual. Also counts Netflix. Here is some Netflix stuff. Let me kind of come up here and show you. Now, I did have a nice new $34 thing from a show that is rather new, on the very first episode of a show called Owning Manhattan. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. This is going to get this video demonetized. So I'll probably take this out. You can find it on my Positive Spin Instagram. You can also find, well, it's not on Instagram yet, but you can find it on my Positive Spin YouTube channel, the entire video, if you want to watch it again, because likely I'll have to cut it out. That's an example of getting something played on Netflix. I did not find that until I was able to see this particular, the placement on Netflix. You're not told about it. There's a couple of different companies that I use to be able to see what music is being played, and you can use these too. There is, and they have free trials like tunesat.com and Track, which is spelled TRQK. It's really better than TuneSat, man. It gives you all these reports. You can upload all of your reports from BMI to it, and it gives you all your numbers and all that kind of stuff, shows you trends, all that kind of stuff. It's very cool. This gives you an idea when you're looking at this where you're getting some other plays. Now, if we look, where are some other things? I did get finally paid for some Christmas. And this isn't even Christmas necessarily. It doesn't always tell you when the period is, which would be helpful. But this is under international performances, audiovisual. So you can see when stuff is played. There's Coming Home Again. That was played on Netflix. And then I guess whatever this version of Netflix is there. And Rest of My Life. These are both on Netflix, so they got paid there. And then Big Nailed It Challenge, Hack My Home. And then finally, a lot of Christmas stuff getting paid. This is Christmas stuff that aired last Christmas. This is November 15th. These aired somewhere around Christmas time last year. And I remember seeing them on TuneSat, but I didn't get paid till now, which didn't add up to much, right? I did get some money from Love is Blind, another $24 from that placement, a nice $138 placement of Still, 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 which is from a Christmas album that I put out 3 years ago. I think it went out around mid-2021. That's how long it takes. Coming Home and Rest of My Life, Radiant, they all were on that albums that came out in early to mid 2021. That's the kind of things that I'm seeing. I think it was a total of almost $500 this month or this quarter. But that's still up from not last month necessarily, but the numbers from before. So not impressive compared to others. But my goal here is not to impress you. My goal here is just to show you the kinds of things that happen on these BMI reports and things that happen. And I've got about 200-ish songs out in libraries. That's not a lot. And some of them are on inactive libraries. There's 2 libraries that I have probably 50 to 100 songs on that are getting nothing. And as soon as those contracts are up, those songs are coming back because those are not perpetual deals. So I can get those songs back. And so that's what you have to do with PRO stuff and with libraries. And that's why it's good to, but you do have to kind of, it's a good thing that your contract is 3 years with a lot of these companies because you don't see results for a few years. And so you have to think of this as long-term investing. And that's just the game. I am going to bring up my Excel sheet because I want to show you the year-on-year income from licensing that I've seen. But I'm seeing a change. I'm seeing a change in my licensing income. Earlier, before my big PRO statement, it was last year. It was last year at the end of the year. And I'll do another end-of-the-year video about my incomes and how especially licensing incomes and royalties, because I think talking about how they've increased or decreased and the reasons why is part of the reason for this channel. This channel is not about being the end-all be-all resource on anything. It's my experience as I go through all these things. I'm doing these things. I'm doing and I'm showing. And hopefully by doing and showing it teaches you a little something that might help you because your numbers are going to be way different. But it depends on your effort. It depends on how much you're putting out. But let's look at my Excel sheet. I try to keep everything on here year to year, starting at 2011 when I started getting a lot of income from music that I was putting out. Especially I had a top 30 Billboard single in jazz. So that was a way that I kind of made money with performance rights. And there was likely money to be made in television then. I just wasn't doing it because I was focused on making music and producing clients through all this time. Over the years, it started kind of to fall. So my total royalties I keep down here. So you can see it's about $1,000 that year. And then it went down for a lot of years, went back up during this year with more kind of performance royalties. Then it really just kind of, as we got into the probably mid to late teens, to hear about licensing and decide to go after it. And so I still got some sales from my band and from the different music. So I still got some PRO from that. But it was nothing from then what would come because sales started to become down. As you can see, sales have gone down because CDs quit selling. And so my sales have decreased every year pretty much. So sales have been not as important. DistroKid income, again, sales. Bandcamp, same. So you can see my incomes have gone down. I don't even think I've done, here's 2024. If we look at total sales income, it's better than some years, but mainly worse. I've got the MLC here, which doesn't pay me very much, again, because I don't really live on Spotify that much. Arrange me as this should be higher. But if I look at total mechanical royalties, it's probably going to work out about the same as last time. But then we get into performance royalties, and this is what we're talking about right now. This is the reason, the raison d'etre for this video, really. And that is a change in my licensing, a shift in how royalties are paying me now that I've been, for years I've been talking about sync and I've been talking about stock. And stock was an early winner because if we look back, my first year in stock, if we look at that right here, my first year in microsync was almost $4,500. And now that was mainly due to Motion Array and them paying a lot more than they do now. You can see the drop off to the next year because Motion Array quit paying as much. And it's continued to drop every year. So to the person who asked me about stock, here's the reason that dropped though. I start putting less in it as the years went on. These past 2 years especially, I have just not been focused on that. I've been focused on making more music for licensing for television and for sync. So I've been focusing way more on that. But this has still been nice monthly income. And I think I did the numbers last night. It looks like this is going to be about the same. I think by the end of December, and once I get all the numbers in from Content ID and everything, it'll be at least this much from last year or more. So right now it says minus 26 from last year, but I think last year I count sync royalties from my libraries and I count microsync together. So I kind of went up last year in total sync royalties. Remember, this is not PRO. This is sync royalties. This is money you're paid up front. And so microsync is paid up front. I guess got paid today from several microsync libraries. So a couple $100. And that money is upfront money. It could also get used on the back end like it did before when one of my songs got used off of sync and it made a couple $1,000s. It was used off of stock and then made a couple $1,000s. So getting into the weeds here, but I hope you're sticking with me because I want you to follow me what I'm doing here. So we're looking at the sync royalties. This is money that's paid upfront, but sync is not only about that. Sync is also about PRO stuff, and you can see every year, year on year, that's going up in a dramatic style. Now, again, because of that great big last quarter, it's a little shifted. But even if you took out the $1,200 or even if you took out $2,400 and you made this $1,200, let's say, still we're moving up every year. We're moving up from 200 to 500 to 1,200. The curve is going up, just like Jesse talks about on the curve. Now, right now, it's a 600% climb up in performance royalties. And then if you add in this, I haven't really got all my sync royalties in this year, but I think when we're done with this, when we look at total royalties, it's quite a big shift from 21% over the year before that to 56% over the year over 2023. So here's the point I'm trying to make here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Performance royalties from all the things, but mainly television. And if you take this is going to be $3,600 versus microsync this year, which is at $2,400. So far, I'm about $1,200 up in sync. And so I have passed up what I was making in stock. Sync is the thing. Sync is what is working more than stock. But I think you can see what I'm trying to talk about here. I have gone up 600% in my PRO royalties this year. You can see that sync is now making more than stock. And that is where I want to put all my efforts. And I think that's where it's going to go. Dom says, is it easy to get noticed on Pond 5? No, because there's 1 million songs or 2 million songs on there in their audio part. And remember, they're not just an audio place. They're really more of a video place. They just happen to have audio stuff there too. So no, people have to be searching for whatever you want to see in order to find you. And that's how you get noticed. Someone searches for a Christmas song. Someone searches for even a specific song like the Star Spangled Banner or Jingle Bells. or something like that. And if your song is called Jingle Bells, you'll get pulled up in that search. So 7,000 last quarter, 4,200 this quarter, back end only, shows how much it fluctuates. Absolutely. And, I could go down before I go up in BMI. I won't get the next BMI statement until February now, but it could go down. However, I still am not paid yet for a CBS NFL thing, so I'm wondering what that's going to pay. And there'll be other things that get used that will pay fast or pay slow, haven't paid for a while. So, yes, it fluctuates quite a bit. Gino Black says, how does someone new to sync find out who, where, when to pitch to? Well, I talked about this a little earlier. Basically, first of all, you have to have music, Gino. There's no finding it out without great music ready to pitch. It's got to be super high quality. There's just no room. In stock music, you can be a little less quality. Maybe you're still working on things. And on Pond 5, they'll pretty much take everything. And as long as you're reasonably good, the music's reasonably good, you can get into Pond 5. That's not a problem. But how do you get into? But getting into a sync library takes quality music, and probably working with someone else to get there if you're not there yourself. But if you do have all of that, Gino, is to do what I do searches for exclusive libraries and once you get to their site and you find the site and you see the television shows that they offer, and you want to be in those shows, one of the things I do is I look and see, I watch a lot of TV, so I know what's new and what's old. And if I see a show that debuted this year or last year, and they've got stuff on there, then I know that they are someone who is working it pretty hard. So I look at that. I do a lot of research on each library. I look and see if they have music that sounds like what I do. And I do a lot of genres, but not all libraries are what I'm doing. And some of them are very artist-based. I am not an artist-based producer. I have a lot of artists I produce, and I have a lot of vocals on my songs. You have to have good quality songs, and then you have to pitch. The who is a search, the where is a search, and when is when you have good music. So I hope that helps. I want to talk about opportunities. And for those of you like Gino and different people who are looking for opportunities, there are people who are at places where they're getting very good payments, like B, getting really nice quarterly payments. Well, that's because they have a lot out there, because they can make their own music. They've been able to make it and get it out and get a large amount of it out. I can't stress that enough today, y'all. Unless you find the opportunities to put your music out and you put it out, I could find libraries all day, but until I send them a 10-song album or something that's going to get their interest to want to talk to me, I'm not going to hear anything back. And so if you want to, you've got to look for opportunities. And if you go to a site, to a library, and they don't have a way to contact them about how to become an author there, a composer, well, they may not be looking. And so that may not be a library for you to pitch to. But if you are someone who is making your own music and you are ready to go, you have a 10-song album, you have more songs, you have a whole catalog to show people, well, then you're ready. So what I've been doing recently, and I even sent out some opportunities today to some people that I'm working with, and that is, I have been working with artists and songwriters and musicians and producers who may be in the spot that they're asking these kind of questions. They may be in a class with me. They may be an artist who is needing some help. I work from the ground up, from people who have never recorded before to people who are already getting a lot into libraries or have done pretty well. So I work all over the place. I always have. I work with the brand newest people, and I work with veterans who have been doing this for 30 years. And not just here, but in Nashville, players and engineers, all that kind of stuff. I just kind of have been that person who's worked with all of those people. So one of the opportunities I offer is something I call Positive Spin Partners. And it is something that we do with people. And again, as I always say, if you're interested, make sure you email me at make sure you email me at eric@makemusicincome.com if you're interested in this, especially if you're already making $30,000 a year or $13,000 a year or $4,000 a year, a quarter. You don't need me probably. You just need to work more. But if you're someone who can't get off the ground with your recordings, you can't get off the ground with finding and pitching the songs because they're just not there yet. It's either quality, you don't have the quality, or you don't have the quantity, or you just don't know. You're not a networker. You need help getting into stuff. I do not pitch stuff I don't produce or have a hand in, co-writing and co-producing. But I do help people who are in that place. So that's what Positive Spin Partners is for. If you're interested, you'll find the information for that below, and you can get in touch with me. That's one opportunity I want to bring to you. But other opportunities I bring to people who are people like B here, or other people who are maybe in the place where they are creating really fantastic music. You find a good example here. I just sent something to Wolfgang. Wolfgang's already generating $13,000 a quarter, or at least this quarter. And so, and has 600 tracks out there. But he would, you know why he has 600 tracks? Because he wants 600 more tracks. And so I sent an opportunity out to Wolfgang and several other people today about an opportunity that came to me from one of my libraries. And they wanted songs for a certain show. There's a show I've already had a placement in. They are looking for music for their next season, but they are only looking with this particular library. So being a particular part of that particular library, I can offer opportunities to people to work with me towards that brief. And I'll be getting more briefs. I'm given this opportunity to players in Nashville to work with me on songs. I have singers that I'm working with that we're doing music for Christmas right now, or we're doing something else, and they want to be involved as an artist. And so I'm developing them and their Christmas songs or their pop songs or whatever for use in music licensing. These are the kinds of opportunities that I offer people who I create with. And so if you're someone, again, who is interested in this, that's where you can look up the information for Positive Spin Partners. This all, and partners can be someone I produce and co-produce, or it's very possible in the near future that they could be people who help me with briefs that I have and things like that. All right, well, I think that's about all I have. I don't see any other thoughts. Remember, you can also go get stuff at makemusicincome.com/free. Lots of free stuff. Cost you nothing, just a bunch of information on how to get started with things, what to do with your songs, all that kind of stuff. Go there. I try to put together some short content through the week on this channel and on Instagram and on TikTok. These videos are very long, I know. And if you have more questions or comments, put them in the comments once we're done with this video. Would love to answer your questions there as well. You can also email me at eric@makemusicincome.com, and I can answer questions for you there as well. All right, everybody, that's all I got. Have a good weekend. Enjoy all the stuff that's happening over the next few weeks in Black Friday, and go get you some stuff. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.